Too Lit to Quit.
Bow, bow.
Yeah, ooh. And we're going to be talking about Marie Corelli, an author from the Victorian era, and she was one of the best female authors in the Victorian era. And actually, I believe she was considered one of the first bestseller novel that was actually published.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of research into her, but the little I've done on her, she's just so interesting.
She's
like, every time I think we're done, there's something else in her life.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's so
100%.
just like, it's cool.
And not only
really cool.
she's very rebellious. She was very rebellious when she was growing up.
And as a girl who like wants to go into like archival and like, you know, preservative like career.
Yeah.
Seeing her do that at such an early time, I love it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So her actual name was Mary McKay.
Okay.
Yeah, and she ended up changing it. She went by Minnie McKay, and she also went by Marie Corelli. My cat is also just joining in. I'm sorry about that.
It's a 3-man job.
Yeah. Anyways, so she was born May 1st, 1855.
A Taurus.
Yes, I was literally thinking that as we were talking. She was actually the daughter of Charles McKay and Mary Elizabeth Mills. Charles McKay was a Scottish poet.
Okay.
And Elizabeth Mills was one of his servants, actually.
Ooh,
yes.
okay.
And so then he ended up having a baby with her, and that was Marie Corelli. I'm pretty sure they actually had more than just Marie, Mary McKay, my bad. But yes, so other than that, he also had Bertha Vyver ended up coming in as his servant once his mom got too sick, but we'll touch back on that in just a little bit.
Okay. Because I love me some Bertha.
Oh yeah, me too. I love Bertha. He was also a songwriter, actually.
A songwriter.
Yeah,
so she was studying to be a musician, right? She's going to be a pianist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you are correct. And I actually found a quote on something that they had posted online about her when I was doing a little research. It says that she was a lonely child. Feeling her loneliness intensely, she entered into a mysterious friendships with the fairies, and she believed that God and an angel were always seeing her, invisible to her, yet there. Gratitude and thanksgiving were two of the keynotes to her happiness and stimulated her in lifelong endeavors to do her best.
I love the idea of fairies.
Yes,
This little mystical girl.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense that at such a young age she was already like looking into like the philosophical, supernatural side of things.
And a lot of her stuff that she writes has some sort of fantasy.
I know,
that is
like Sorrows of Satan.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's, you know, technically he's not. I mean, he is Satan. He's just the walking
personification.
Yeah, personification.
Like a fairy.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah.
Full circle.
She uses a whole lot of different techniques in her writing. But yeah, and that was actually from Bertha's book, which was Memoirs of Marie Corelli. Yes, that's something that she put out after Marie passed. As we have discussed, Mary was a lesbian. She's not very open about it, but she was, you know, it's known now for sure that Bertha was her partner.
I knew she was an unapologetic man-hater.
Yeah.
That's what everybody was saying about her.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
100%.
me too.
Yeah, she's all against it.
Iconic.
And not only that, she hated, like, the press. She hated, like, the fame portion of, like, what she was doing.
Yeah.
So she would kind of avoid, like, parties and get to, like, conferences and stuff with other writers.
Like secretive.
Yeah.
Okay.
She definitely was standoffish with them, and a lot of the press hated her for it. Like, would post comments about her.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Like, she got just, like, a ton of hate.
Yeah.
In her time.
Yeah. They did not like her. And actually, I mean, I was speaking with my professor about it. My professor was saying that she's, like, super forgotten nowadays. You don't hear about her.
I don't know how true this was, because it was from that little like, video essay you saw, but I saw somewhere that Mark Twain did not like her at all.
Yeah.
And then he went and visited her one day and like actually talked to her, and he was like, oh my god, like everybody's talking so much crap about you, but you're like such a nice person. Like, I love you.
Like, what is going on here? Yeah, and she just doesn't like the fame and the fortune and all the crazy stuff. And it's kind of ironic too, because the Sorrows of Satan ends up being so much about like how money is evil and bad, and she was against that.
Yeah.
We're not really against it, you know, but she didn't involve herself in it as heavily as a lot of people do when they get into that life.
Like become rich and famous.
Yeah. So other than that though, she of course was known to push the boundaries of social standards. She was, let me see, she changed her name because she realized that she wasn't getting enough traction with her having her father's name because, you know, female writer and also, like, her having her
She's,
dad's
like, just
name.
always in the shadow.
Exactly, because he was also a writer. So it wasn't helping her too much, and that's where Marie Corelli ended up coming about. Minnie was actually while she was a pianist, and then she ended up still having the last name of McKay, and that's what dimmed her down. So she ended up changing it again, or going by a different pseudonym of Marie Corelli. But yeah, once she passed, she left everything to Bertha, and we actually will learn a little bit more about Bertha. Let me see. In 1901, they moved into a house in Stratford. It was called the Masoncroft on Church Street, which is currently owned by Shakespeare Institute of the University of Birmingham.
Okay.
Yeah, and Marie and Bertha actually lived there for
Wasn't
about 4
it
years
like,
together.
it was owned by Shakespeare, right, that building? That's so cool.
So,
that is just like, she's such like an interesting girl.
I know, she really is. She's very interesting.
Really is. I don't know, her whole story is so fun.
Well, this is actually a poem that I found in Bertha's Memoirs about Marie Corelli. But it was written by Charles McKay, just so we can have like a little preview of what he sounds like. Yeah. So it says, it's called The Wee Croodlin' Doo.
I love that.
Because, you know, Scottish. It kind of it totally
that
fits.
Makes
it
so
totally fits. So it says, there's a thing keeps my heart right, whatever the world may do. 6 summers old, with locks like gold, and no tender blue. A wee thing, my name thing, a pledge of love maced true. A bonny, 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 wee Croodlin' Doo.
Same.
Although my gear be scanty, and dour the work I do, I've mair than gear while she is near, and forth o' pleasures new. My wee thing, mine ain thing, she keeps me pure and true. My bonny, 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 wee Croodlin' Doo.
Aww,
yes,
that's like really cute.
Really cute. He was a pretty good writer, honestly.
That's so nice.
And he was widely known for his piece Extraordinary Popular Delusions and The Madness of Crowds.
So that was about Marie Corelli? Like that poem?
Yes.
Okay.
It is. It's so cute, too. It's at the very beginning of the memoirs.
I think it's kind of cute that, like, he's still her dad.
Yeah.
Like, she's an illegitimate child, but he's, like...
Definitely. And I will say that she was a lot younger when he wrote that. I couldn't find much information on how he felt about it later in life, but at the same time, I know that she stayed with him all the way until he passed. So I assume he didn't feel that
like, he wasn't pushing her away.
Yeah, he wasn't mad about how she was. And that's, you know, of course, Bertha ended up taking over, and so she was around, too. Yeah. So I don't know. I know, like, she didn't come out about being, like, gay or anything like that. So I mean, that's
with the time.
If he put those pieces together or not.
They've been living together for a
like,
while.
They're close.
They really
like
each other.
Close. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but they're really close.
I'm going to get there one day.
I'm going to understand it,
yeah.
So we're not quite sure, but he might have figured it out.
They might be gay. Yeah. We don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Who knows? He was just like, this girl's really nice to my daughter, and I love it. I love that for her. So yeah, his widely known book is The Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds.
Okay.
It's basically an early study of crowd psychology.
Oh, yes. That's cool.
Yeah,
that
it is really
cool.
interesting. And it was published in 3 volumes, National Delusions, Peculiar Follies, and Philosophical Delusions. Yeah. So he has, this is basically a quote that's, you know, just kind of explaining the book a little bit, but it says, the subjects of McKay's debunking include alchemy, crusades, duels, economic bubbles, fortune-telling, haunted houses, the drummer of Tedworth, the influence of politics and religion on the shapes of beards and hair, magnetizers, influence of imagination in curing disease, murder through poisoning, prophecies, popular admiration of great thieves, popular follies of great cities, and relics.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot to cover.
It's a lot of stuff.
This man was quirky. I like it.
Yeah, I see. That's another reason why he might have actually been okay with her being how she is.
After hearing all that, that's a lot of stuff to delve into.
Yeah,
he was like pushing the boundary
deep.
too.
Yeah, he was deep. He was deep.
So I mean,
and that was his most widely known book too.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing.
Yeah, and she was like, you know what, this is cool. I'm gonna follow.
Honestly, I mean, if my dad was like that, I'd be like, this is probably what I want to do.
Yeah,
too.
this is interesting. And then we have, of course, Corelli's mother.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have too much information on her online because she was just his servant.
Yeah.
And at that time, actually, that was very widely popular, is that the wife or the lover would end up being a helping hand, and more than a wife.
Gotcha.
Like, she was normally the help.
Yeah.
So, so the mom was the help, basically. She, let me see. Yeah, that's basically what I just said. Yeah. But, let me see. Marie fought against every single bit of the familiar standards. Not only was she a lesbian, but she never bared any children, which was also something that was extremely frowned upon at that point in time.
She was like, I'm not doing any of it.
Yeah, she was just like,
we're done. I'm just gonna
life
go.
that I want. So,
honestly, like, if you don't want to live it, don't live it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, she was all about that. She was all
like,
about it.
I'm just gonna do my own thing.
Yeah. But unfortunately, like I said, there wasn't much information on her, so the only other information is really that she passed away, and when she passed away, Bertha took over on taking care of Charles until he passed away. So her father was normally reported as a Belgian-Spanish merchant, and her mother was a Belgian countess. Her father was a very unsuccessful businessman, though.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, he filed for bankruptcy several times, and he also had made a majority of his money by selling fake hereditary titles. Yeah.
Great start.
Yeah, he was
great.
He was figuring it out the best that he could. And then the mother, she was a caretaker for the Scottish poet. She ended up separating from her parents because of all the toxicity there.
Cut him off, girl.
Yeah, it happens.
Cut him off.
And so that's when she became the servant of Charles and the companion of Marie Corelli. And she was also known as one of Marie's biggest supporters. She encouraged all of her writing. She always pushed her to go further and push the boundary further. Sweet. I know. She was very, very, very supportive of Marie, and I love it so much. I love it. It's so cute. And not only that, but once Marie passed, Marie left her every single thing that she owned, and she also put her in charge of her literary estate. So anything that she was in the process of writing got published.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
it's very cute.
That's so cute.
I love it very much. And she ended up writing the Memoirs of Marie Corelli, of course, afterwards. That's where I get a little bit of my information. I feel like that's like the most accurate information you can get on.
I mean, it's firsthand.
Yeah, it's the most accurate. And a lot of the stuff that I read online was saying that it's hard to find accurate information on all of these people because they just weren't kept up on, and it was such an old time too.
Didn't Marie lie though?
What?
That she lied about like her like upbringing. She was like, I'm like an Italian.
She totally did. She totally did.
Because she was trying to hide the fact that she was like, not. I love that about her too. She
like, totally was.
Me? No, my dad's like Italian royalty.
Yeah, no, I totally was not like poor-ish. Like, no.
I promise.
She was like, I have a wealthy family. Yeah, but anyways, she did really good. Other than that, she had a couple downfalls.
We all do.
I mean, we all tell lies every now and then.
I tell lies all the time.
Yeah, girl, it happens. It happens. And a lot of people say that she actually continued to take care of their estate afterwards and protect it until she passed away. She was also the sole caretaker of Charles whenever she was the caretaker of him. He didn't have other people helping. She was the only one that did it. So they were very close.
I bet. Yeah.
And Mary couldn't help because of her sickness, and other than being the caretaker, Bertha would do photography. Yes. So that was another thing that she was super into, but only very few of the images actually survived and are around to view. It's very sad. But after Corelli passed away, I did find a quote from Yorkshire's Evening News, and it says that one of the greatest friendships, LOL, because they're not friends, besties, one of the greatest friendships of modern times knit together the hearts and minds of Miss Marie Corelli and Miss Bertha Vyver. Her own heart was the hearth of her comrade, and thought of and love of Marie thrilled through Miss Vyver's. I'm not positive if I'm correcting it. Vyver's, maybe, possibly. Veins. In loneliness of soul, Miss Vyver mourns the loss of one who was nearer and tenderer to her than a sister. Over the fireplace in the fine old spacious lounge at Mason Croft, the initials MC and BV were carven into one symbol, and it was the symbol of life. But isn't it crazy they referred to her as a sister? But they're just friends. They literally said nearer and tenderer to her than a sister.
Then, yeah, well, definitely more nearer than a sister.
I don't...
When have you ever gone with your sister and carved your initials into a tree and a heart?
That's so cute. What's going on?
That's adorable.
What's going on
That's
here?
so cute.
Yeah, I know.
I hate the way history does that.
I know.
Where they're like,
it's like,
oh, they were best friends.
They were in love.
They were in love. Let them be in love.
They were in love with each other.
They were totally in love, and that's okay.
And they honestly weren't being that secretive about it.
No,
so
they weren't. They were like,
they lived together for 40 plus years.
I know.
40
like
plus
it's
years.
not like they were. And I bet if you asked Marie, you're like, oh my god, like who do you love? She'd be like, I love Bertha. Doesn't she call her like Mama or something? She called her something.
I don't know. I didn't see that. Maybe
that was in the little documentary. I don't know if that stuff was true.
I know. That's the only thing that sucks is that you never know exactly what you're getting.
Well, it may not be true, but I'm telling you, I did shed a couple of tears when it said that on her deathbed, like on the night she died, she called out to her nurse and she was like, "Get Bertha. I need Bertha. I need Bertha here now." And then the nurse was like, "I don't think you're dying. I'm not gonna go wake her up just because you're like having a moment.
Get out."
And so she didn't, and Bertha always regretted not being there. Now I don't know if that's true, but when I saw that,
I will cry
doing my research,
now.
I teared up. I was like, "That's so."
I will literally cry right now. That's terrible.
So sweet. I mean, it's terrible.
So
it's horrible that she didn't get to go say goodbye, but it's really sweet that that was her thought. That was her first thought. Was I have to see Bertha.
I know, and it's so sad that nurse was just like, no, you're fine.
You'll
literally shake it off, girl.
Walk it off.
Yeah, you're good.
You're gonna see her tomorrow.
Yeah,
and then she did.
And honestly, and another ironic thing, since this is Victorian women's literature, is that that's still how women are treated.
Honestly,
that's still how women are treated.
Honestly,
because like my whole situation with my uterus and my placenta being fused together.
Oh my!
And I went to the hospital like 5 times before they finally let me stay at the hospital, and because they kept telling me I wasn't dilated enough, and so they couldn't keep me. But the whole time I was like, "This is my second kid. I didn't hurt this much the first time. I drove myself to the hospital at a 7. Like I don't understand how I'm in this much pain." And the whole time it was because every time she was dropping down lower, it was separating. It was separating. Yeah, and they didn't listen to me. So
they did the same thing to my mom. She had a pull. She kept going in and being like, "My knee hurts. It's up." And they were like, "No, it's not. You're fine. Go home."
Yeah.
And she did that for like a year of constant knee pain before she was like, "My knee hurts." And they were like, "Oh no, yeah, we need to do surgery on it."
Yeah.
Maybe just listen. Maybe we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, maybe. Just possibly.
Maybe.
It's very annoying.
Marie Corelli knew what she was talking about.
Literally.
She did.
I know.
I love her.
So sad. Anyway, the two are buried together too. That's another really cute thing.
That's super sweet.
They're buried together at Evesham Road Cemetery in Stratford upon Avon. Yeah.
She has such a fun life.
I know.
That is such a fun life.
It's crazy.
She's a good girl.
But yeah, so that's gonna wrap up our podcast about Marie. I feel like our next episode is going to be all about the Sorrows of Satan, and it'll probably be a 2-parter.
Yes.
So
we're gonna delve into her work.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.